all this stuff. And about 10 years ago, we realized that if you have something that's bright, that's tiny, and that's colorful, they could also be useful. And I'm going to tell you about two uses of the particles, one in biology and one in electronics or lighting. Let's start with the biology. It turns out that these particles are on the same size as big proteins. And so we can use them to image the inside of cells, for instance. So this is a cell. This happens to be a dead cell, but you can see the skeleton of the cell. These little green things are the cell skeleton. There's a nucleus, there's other parts of the cell. Quantum dots of different sizes have been are labeling the different parts of the cells, and you see these pretty pictures. Now, they're so bright that you can even see single quantum dots. Under a microscope, under a light microscope, even though you can't see the dots themselves because they're too small, you can see the light that comes from the dots. What you see here is a neuron that's glowing green, and the little red spots are the little quantum dots that are finding little receptors on the neurons, teaching us something about the way that electrical signals go up and down the neuron. So we can see things at the cellular scale, and we can also see things even deeper, even smaller than the cellular scale. In this case here, we were working with colleagues at the Massachusetts General Hospital, and they're interested in stem cells. They're interested in tracking certain kinds of stem cells that are connected with cancer. And those stem cells happen to exhibit two different kinds of what are called receptors on the surface of stem cells. So what we do is we can come in with two colors of dots, a red one that can find one of the receptors on the stem cell but also labels other cells, and a green one that can find, say, a third kind of cell but also labels a second receptor on the stem cell. Now we have green and red together, and that makes yellow, and then we can go inside the blood vessels of the animal from the outside, and we can watch then this yellow cell here. All the others are blue or different colors, and there's the bone here, there's a blood vessel, and we can track the stem cells as it goes around, and so we want to find out what the environment is of that stem cell in real time. Okay, so quantum dots were great in terms of imaging things, but it would be great to make them even smarter. So again, this is working with colleagues at the Massachusetts General Hospital, and they're interested in curing cancer. They're interested in delivering drugs deep into tumors. And the biggest problem we have with cancer right now is that it's very hard to get the drugs to go deep into a tumor to kill the cancer cells. So their idea was if they had a 100 nanometer particle, which is really big compared to a quantum dot, and that 100 nanometer particle was able to lodge itself in the tumor because the vasculature, the blood vessels next to a tumor tend to be leaky compared to normal vessels. So these 100 nanometer particles could get out, but they can't really penetrate. So if you put a drug in there, it's just going to kill the part of